Okay, thank you so much everybody for coming tonight. If you're like me, Tri-Team is something that sounds really exciting.
Sorry you got that.
You're really excited to get to learn more about it, but sometimes we have so many different acronyms in 4-H and so many different like once a year activities and events that roll up that sometimes it's hard to keep track of them all. So tonight we are going to hear from Jolene Bunnell, who has done awesome in kind of encouraging tri-teams to become a more major part of 4-H throughout the state, and then hear from some of the youth who have been tri-team youth in the past and learn a little bit more about it. So I'll turn the time over to you, Jolene.
Hi, welcome here tonight to learn about tri-teams. And I'll explain who I am. I am the staff advisor over the state ambassadors, and they take the lead on teaching the leadership section of the tri-teams. And then we have groups of teens or adults that will be teaching the subject matters that you can choose from. And I'm also over one of those tracks. I'm over the Family Consumer Science state ambassadors as well, and they'll be teaching the healthy habits. And then we have Megan Callister. She will be over the financial literacy, which is Smart Sense. Wave, Megan, so they know who you are. And then I don't see them on yet, but Deb Ivy and will be over the STEM. And sorry about the dog. We had someone just come to the door. And also the agri-science. So those are the areas that we have tri-teams on. And I'm going to first ask Spencer a question. Okay, Spencer, he's one of our state ambassadors. Tell us what TRI stands for.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So TRI stands for Teens Reaching Youth.
Okay, and what do they do? What does a tri-team person do?
So as far as it's been explained to me, I understand that tri-teams use the knowledge that they have, and they teach it to their clubs, to their counties, to basically anyone who they are tasked or want to teach. So just to kind of elaborate on that, at the tri-team training, we will be teaching the leadership section, where we have come up with workshops that we think will be useful to other youth. And then those youth in turn teach workshops on their own subject matter to whoever wants to learn about that.
Okay, great, Spencer. Yeah, so these tri-teams are a group of teens from a county that come together with an adult coach, and then they come and learn about a subject matter and then bring it back to their counties and teach it. And Cindy, you're on the line. She's going to take over for Jonathan. He wasn't able to make it. Cindy, what is their commitment when they come back to the county?
So after they attend their tri-team training, they come back to the county, and their obligation is to teach other youth and pass on the knowledge that they learned there. So they plan and prepare for all of the tri-team events.
Correct. And how many hours, Cindy, do they have to teach?
It has to be 8. Am I right? It has to be at least 8 hours. I know in our county we do more than 8 hours, but it has to be at least 8 in whichever area you're in. And you help, and the youth help recruit other kids to come to those programs. In my county, we sit down with adults and youth together, and they plan those events. And then they're each given an assignment to teach a lesson or to prepare and plan some sort of an event.
Okay, good. So give us an example, Cindy, of how your tri-teams in your county have implemented that. What have they done to teach those 8 hours?
Okay, so I have worked with the Healthy Living for the past 4 years, and we really have focused on physical activity along with nutrition lessons. So in the summer, we have what we call a Tri 4-H Adventures Club. And mine's ran a little bit different because we target some of the older kids. We target 6th through 12th grade, which does not have to be the case. A lot of them will target 3rd through 6th or whatever. But we do a lot of different activities. So we have actually been hiking and we have done water sports, so paddleboarding and kayaking. We have made smoothies and omelets, and they've played ultimate frisbee. We did garden salad boxes one year. They built the boxes and then they planted them. And at every single activity, there's some sort of nutrition component with that. I've also used my tri-team ambassadors to teach at Ag in the classroom. And so they have gone there and taught an Ag in the classroom, and they have also helped out at the county fair.
Awesome. Megan, you've had a tri-team before, haven't you? Tell us how they implemented their lessons back in the county.
Our tri-team has provided a lot of after-school healthy living programs. Specifically, we try to do one 6-week course at the Refugee Community Center. So it's usually really basic, like healthy living skills, cooking skills. They help us at the county fair. They'll teach a workshop or be at a table to engage people, or they do summer camp. So like they've done like 3-day summer camps that's open to anyone who wants to attend.
Yeah, they have a variety of ways that they can implement that. They can go to an after-school site and teach a club every night. They can run a whole club in the community. They can do it in a 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 day camp type situation. There's lots of ways to implement that tri-team. There's a few questions that people have had, and let me read those and then we'll try to answer those. Or if there's any questions from the group that's here as we go through this, we can answer those too. Okay, let's see. One of the questions that we have that have come in. So we explained what TRI stands for. That tri-team has been around for a long time. I don't even know how many years it's been around. And it is something we do usually every spring. And a lot of the curriculums that are chosen are based on some grants that we've had. So we'll get a grant from Walmart, like the Healthy Habits one is from Walmart. And then Megan, what's the one with the financial literacy?
It's a partnership through 4-H Council and TD Ameritrade. So it's a grant that we've received through them.
Yeah, so there's another grant that's implementing. So we have funds to get the supplies and to put those on through some grant funding. So there's a variety of projects that we do depending on that. So the Walmart one has been around for several years, probably 15 years. I remember getting that way back a long time ago and those things, and then starting up again with another person over them and stuff. So it just depends on what some of those funds are or what the needs are. Like the STEM, there's a lot of people that are interested in STEM, so we try to promote some kind of STEM project they can choose as well. So that's why they've been around a long time. Someone was like, is this a one-time thing or is it something we do every year? It is something we try to do every year. How can participants as far as youth and leader, who can participate as far as youth and leaders? So they need to be enrolled in 4-H for liability reasons. The leaders need to be enrolled in 4-H and the team leaders. So they need to get enrolled first in 4-H and then they can sign up for the training. So they're supposed to go through the training in order to be able to come back and teach. those curriculums. And so those are the youth that can be the leaders of it. The volunteer leaders could be a staff or a volunteer, and then the team leaders. And they can be from 7th through 12th grade to be that those leaders. And then your audience that you teach to can be 4-H youth. It can be non-4-H youth. So it can be anyone in the community you think you need it. Like you could go to a refugee center, like one mentioned. You can go to an after-school site that might not be a 4-H after-school site, or you could just offer it within your community and have those kids participate. It is a good marketing tool for 4-H if they want to join 4-H and do other things beyond just that one club or that one camper activity. So that's how people can get involved. We talked about some of the general ideas of how to fulfill these commitments by doing a camp or a club or an after-school site, things like that. Then we talked, the next question is non-4-H organizations, how can they participate? So if they're not in 4-H, we would get them enrolled to do this, and they'd sign up as 4-H at home type of club to start with if they're not currently enrolled in 4-H. And then that's how they can get involved to be on the team leaders and stuff like that. And you can also partner with an organization. So if you want to partner with the school or something that's like, yeah, we want to get these teams, they can be the sponsoring organization, but they still need to get enrolled in 4-H. And then you could go back to that school and teach without having all those kids become enrolled in 4-H. And clubs can do this. A whole club could sign up and run it for other people within the county as well. So it doesn't have to be a specific group in the county. They can form themselves as a group.
That's awesome. Jolene, we have a quick question in the chat about as far as a leader or adult for that tri-team. Do they have to be knowledgeable in the field that their tri-team is focusing on, such as like ag science, or can the kids know more than the leader?
The kids can definitely know more than the leader. Everyone will get a copy of the curriculum and the activities. So just an example, many years ago when my kids were doing 4-H in our neighborhood club, I just brought a variety of curriculums that we had at the office, and the kids picked to do chemistry. They wanted to do a chemistry, and all of us leaders looked at each other and like, oh, we know nothing about this. So we were basically learning it right with the kids, and we would just pass the manual around. Each parent took a different week teaching, basically running the club. And so we learned it just right before we were teaching it and had the older teens help teach us. So you don't need to be knowledgeable on the subject matter. You will learn it at the tri-training just like the kids are learning it. Okay, let's see if we got another question here. Okay, those are basically the questions that had come in. Is there any questions from the rest of the group?
I'll ask another question if that's okay. So earlier, Cindy said that the youth get trained as they form their teams. What does that training look like in a normal non-COVID year, and what will that training look like during times of COVID?
Okay, good questions. So let me, Sarah or Trinity, can you guys get on and show yourselves?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
So I'll just start with this year because I actually have never been to tri-training in a normal year, but we're going to be in charge of the first half this year. So this year, we'll start with the leadership portion and the state ambassadors. So me, Spencer, Sarah, and a few more that's not here tonight are going to take a topic each and teach the youth how to teach and coach and different elements of that sort. And then from there, they can learn their curriculum and then take that back to their counties and educate the youth. Sarah, do you know a normal year of tri-training?
Oh, so Trinity,
I
sorry.
can add, yeah, I can add a little bit.
Oh, you're kind of
Is it
cutting.
okay if I go for a second, Spencer?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead,
Sorry.
Sarah.
So with a normal year, am I cutting out?
A little bit.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry. I think my internet's a little unstable.
I can take it. It's okay.
But so this year a little different for tri-team training. Okay. Yeah, you can.
Okay. So this year we're gonna do it mostly online. At least the first half is online. Jolene, is the second part in person?
Nope, it's online too.
It's all online. So we're gonna be the instructors are gonna be together, and each tri team will be together in their counties. So you can do activities together, but just because of COVID, we have to be separated. It's gonna be fun still. In a normal year, we would not be online at all and we would just be together. It would look similar to TLT, I believe, where we're just on camp, on site for 2 days as we learn the curriculum. Did I hit everything, Jolene?
Let me ask Spencer a question here, and we'll get Sarah if she gets back on with where she can talk. But how long are we meeting on Friday night?
So on Friday night, we are meeting from 6 to 9 p.m. And and since we don't have very much time, unfortunately, we can't go as in depth to the topics that we wanted to. Each workshop is only going to be about like 20 minutes, maybe a little longer. And so if you guys know, like workshops are usually 45 minutes to an hour, maybe even a little longer. And so we just really ask that you guys are super engaged. But that's how long it's going to be on Friday night. And then on this next Saturday, the tri teams are going to go and teach workshops, or you guys will go and learn the curriculum depending on which course you've signed up for.
And that training on Saturday starts at 10 a.m. in the morning and will go till 5 p.m. And some might end a little bit earlier than that, but that's the scheduled time. And you'll go through the 8 lessons of the curriculum that you'll have, and then have some time to, as a tri-team, as your group, to plan and start organizing how you're going to implement this. So you can brainstorm ideas now that you've learned the curriculum. You, as a group, you get together and say, okay, well, let's try to do this as a camp. And what day do we want to implement this at? And what age of group? And where do we want to hold it? You'll start brainstorming those ideas and starting that process of your planning on that Saturday meetings as well.
Are there any specific materials that the teams need to have for those trainings, or do they just need to bring themselves?
They do have some specific things for those trainings. Depending on your topic, it'll be up to the county staff, the 4-H staff in the counties, to purchase those, or if they have them in their office. So some of the things that we need for Friday night, we need those big Post-it notepads. You know, we need those. I think about 3 or 4 of the workshops will be using those. We have to have some markers. Sarah's workshop, there's like 3 or 4 handouts you'll have, and you'll have to print them off ahead of time for them to have. And Sarah's, there's a handout they need to cut into pieces before it happens. So there's a few things like that they'll need. If you're in the agri-science, they'll deliver a whole kit of supplies for you. In the healthy living, there is, not the healthy living, the healthy habits, there is food that will need to be purchased. So we'll give them an index number for the staff to go purchase those things before the training. Because it's too hard to mail out food and things like that. And some of the things you already have. So yeah, so that's, and then you will also get money to the counties, not to each tri-team if it's a volunteer leader or something, that they will have money given to help implement the camp or the club, that you will have money to spend on for your activities once you're putting them on as well.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any
So
last?
Jolene,
Yes.
sorry, I'm using cell phone. I cannot see anything. Okay, I have questions. So you said the sponsor. Do the team need to go out to find the sponsorship, or?
No, we have donors that are already lined up.
Oh, okay, okay. It just depends on what topic we choose, and hopefully that topic have some, donation already, right?
Right. Every one of them have funds to help implement.
Oh,
IT
okay.
and to get the supplies. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so those
So-
donors were provided or grants from this state staff that are sponsoring these.
Okay. So you said like every year is from the spring, or that's just a year-round activities?
We usually do the trainings in the spring about this time every year. And then the commitment is to have them completed by the end of August. So when school starts, but not all of them are that strict that they have to be done by then. I know the Healthy Habits is because we have to report to the funding source in September. But Megan, about your finance one, you have a little more lenient on that, right?
Yeah, our grant doesn't end until December 31st. So you could do it in the spring, you could do it in the fall. We talked earlier if it was easier to do an after school program or just a family night. We have a lot more leniency when ours can be done than the other ones.
Yeah, like after school program, if we start training in April, I mean this time, so school almost done.
Right, yeah. So you could do it for the fall.
Okay, it depends on the fund then.
Yeah.
The funding, if the funding is like September, there's no way to do it in the fall.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So the Healthy Habits does need to be done by the end of August. The finance one needs to be done by December. Deb, are you on? Deb Ivy? I think that's the Deb that's on, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, she was logging in with her phone and was having some issues.
Okay, so I think Deb's is a little more flexible.
Jolene, I'm here. It just took me a sec to get unmuted because I'm on my phone. Sorry. Our funding is also flexible because our source actually goes through the beginning of next year. So both STEM and agri-science have some flexibility in them as well. But the Healthy Habits one is the grant, like Jolene said, that it's tied to, it has a very specific date when it needs to be done.
Okay, so I have the question is like, so for the 8 hours, it's not the same person for 8 hours. I mean the same students. So, right? I can choose like today, maybe I just teach, we teach a first grade, and then maybe for 3 hours, and then the second grade for 3 hours. Can we do that, or is the first grade have to be a straight 8 hours?
In the Healthy Habits, it's supposed to be the same kids getting all 8 hours of instruction.
Okay. But beside that one, like STEM or agri-science?
I think that's cool, but I think they're a little more flexible than we are.
We are a little more flexible, but we do want the kids to get enough programming that they're learning. And so we don't want, 1 hour here and 1 hour there. In the training itself, we will help your team to make a plan that will work and meet the goals so that you don't have to come up with that all on your own. We can help you with the planning.
Yeah, but it's supposed to, you're supposed to be serving the same kids. So then they get enough knowledge that they're gaining those skills and that might lead to change of behaviors or knowledge gained, instead of just a group of things that are all different that you could teach totally different things at each time. You want to go through that whole 8 hours of curriculum that we're giving you.
Okay. So that means we just have a curriculum to follow the 8 hours.
Yeah, so there's more in the curriculums than than you're required to teach. So you could you don't have to use exactly the ones that they're train you on. You might think, oh, well, I get this curriculum. Well, they didn't cover these 3 lessons. You could actually do those lessons if you want, but we're going to pick 8 to show you for sure.
Okay. So the curriculum, only the training we can see, or can we go online to look for those curriculum?
You can on the healthy habits. They're kind of expensive curriculums. So each office should have those, but it's we're using 3 different curriculums, and we'll provide you the lessons that we are teaching. But then they're bigger curriculums that are like $45 a piece and stuff like that. So you can, if you want to go look for them, you can.
Okay.
You get a list if you want those.
Yeah, we have more interest in, I guess, the STEM. I want to know what they are teaching for the STEM and agri-science. So for those curriculum, can I look online, or I have to attend the training?
You would need to.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say you would need to attend the training to do things that we're providing in the kit, because we're providing very specific items to train you to do specific areas of STEM. And the same with agri-science.
Okay. Yeah. And like this year, sorry, all my questions. This year's, is that okay? We can just, like, I can just go and understanding more about what's going on, and then we'll start next year? Or when we go, or when I go to the training, the STEM and agri-science.
So I would really strongly recommend that if you're going to come, that you find kids to be on a team, because you will be able to see a lot better how it works if you're working with youth and doing it. It's very, very hands-on with the youth and with the planning. And so some of the training, I think, it would be kind of frustrating to be at as a leader without any youth.
Okay. So that means maybe next year then. So next year we'll find the youth, but not this year. Okay,
yeah,
no problem.
Now the youth could go down to 7th grade.
Oh yeah, I think before it's at 8th grade, right?
The application says they need to be 7th grade or above.
Yeah. So I think, because that time seems like I look at some instruction, they talk about 8th grade. That's why I never plan on my son to get in until next year.
Yeah, it used to be 8th grade was the.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we dropped the age by 1 year, so all intermediates can join.
Okay.
Through that. So there was a question that said, are there teams you can join, or do you have to create your own team? So if you're interested, but you don't have a team, talk to your county 4-H coordinator, and they can help form teams with kids that are interested. So even if you go in and sign up, and I see those registrations and you're all by yourself, I will be calling those county coordinators and say, hey, you've got 2 kids that have signed up that want to do this, but there's no leader. Can you call them? Can you work with them to see if they can find something so you can join that? But you do need an adult leader and at least 2 kids. Or your teams can be 2 to 8 or something people. I think the majority are 4 kids and 1 adult would be a team, but it can be a few less than that. It can be a few more than that. The positives with doing it online is the costs are a lot cheaper. to do it this way. So when we do it face to face, we're limited on how many we can bring in by the time we pay for hotel rooms for you to come in, the food, all of that. So we are limited that we could teams only of 4, and we can only have the first, 16 teams that sign up. Where this, we have a lot more flexibility that we can do as many teams that want to sign up because we don't have any of those costs. So that's a positive of being virtual compared to doing it live. But, so I hope you can find a team, Emily, and that would be great. Let's see if we have any more questions here. Okay, who do we need to talk to get the supplies? So the supply list will come out. Registration closes on the 14th. So that's just the Sunday before we do this on Friday. So we'll start sending those supplies out. If it's simple things that they might be in the county offices already, or that can be purchased locally, like the food and things, we'll send that out really quickly after the registrations close to all the teams. And then the kits of some of the bigger things like this agri-science and the STEM, and Megan has her kits already put together for her curriculum with the finance. We're going to be taking them around or mailing them to the coach or to the county offices. So that's how you get the supplies. So
Awesome.
Kim, where are you at, Kim? Oh.
I'm in Weber County.
Okay, so depending on who signs up, are you one of the coaches?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be sending the list to you and to the county faculty as well.
Okay.
County staff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if anyone has any last minute questions, now's a good time.
Okay, so sorry, I can't turn on my camera every time I do my Zoom dies. Today's
Okay,
not a
that's
good
fine.
internet day at my
Melanie.
house. I have a couple questions. So we're with a grant through Utah State University's extension, an OPA grant. So we're working with teams. I'm seeing internet connection unstable, so I hope you can hear me. I have a couple questions. One is we are going to have our teams meet on Friday with training on Friday. So when you were mentioning handouts and materials, what handouts and materials will they need for the Friday training? Will that be emailed to us?
Yes, it will be emailed to you. Is she still on? I hope she didn't get lost. But yeah, all those things will be, here she comes back in. So Melody, we will be emailing those out to those who have registered.
Okay.
So they'll get emailed out to their coaches that signs up for those teams, so they have that material ahead of time of what supplies they need.
Okay, so do you expect that to be about a week at a time, or?
Yeah, if they're signed up already, we could send them out, but the registration closes that Sunday night. So Monday we are going to send those out
Okay.
for the Fridays. So
All right, that
we have to
should
send it
work.
out to different.
Okay, and then,
What's that?
right. So then my next question is, with teaching, we're kind of going to go off on our own little tangent and teach our own curriculum. But what I'm wondering is, when these tri-teams have gone to these groups and taught, other than the materials they would need in order to participate in the classwork, are there other things that they might provide to the kids in the class, like a shirt or a hat or some kind of little incentives or things like that?
Yeah, each of the tri-team members will get a t-shirt so they can wear it as a team when they are teaching, so they kind of stand out. But there's not the swag type things in that go to all the participants. But the money that you have to implement your club, if that's what you want to spend it on, to buy some of that, you could. Or it could be for your lunches or your lodging or your consumable cooking supplies or whatever you're teaching. So
Okay,
if you're not teaching our curriculum, there probably wouldn't be that money there to help you
that's
implement.
fine. OPA's got its own money set aside for that. But I was just wondering if, so typically you don't give kids anything except the things they need to take the class when they come for a class that the tri-team is teaching, correct?
Yeah, and then the finance track does
Okay.
have t-shirts for every single participant as well.
Jolene, can I make a comment on that too?
Yeah.
For the Healthy Habits Tri-Team that I have done, because we've hiked and we've mountain biked and we've done a few things like that. With the funding that we had, we were able to buy inexpensive hydro packs for everybody. Those little backpacks with the water bladders and stuff in them. And so those that participated in that event were able to get that. And you could do like cooking supplies or something like that too, you know, if depending on the funding that you have.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Thank you.
And I was just gonna say, a lot of time for the healthy habits one, I know that it doesn't really apply. Like if you make food, the kids love that. And that's kind of like a takeaway for them as well.
Yeah, and then Nan wrote that they bought 2 pickleball nets for their county last year with the money to implement that. And then they got t-shirts for all of their kids that participated in that activity. So you have funds to do those things, but those are not provided right off the bat. It's up to you to choose as you implement what you want to do with those. Okay, do we have any more questions? We got about 8 minutes left to answer any questions that people might have, or anyone that wants to make a comment. Any of our ambassadors, if you want to say anything else, or anyone that's done
So Jolene,
yes, Lisa.
question. Yes. So the youth as a leader, they only can do the tribe 1 year, or they can do it every year, as long as they are after 7th grade?
Right, they could go back every year, and there are kids who do it every single year. That once they go, they like teaching and they like doing that, so they come back and attend the training again, and then come back and teach a club or a camp or something every year. And sometimes they bounce around between different subjects, learn a lot of different things.
Okay, so that means as long as they like it, they can just keep doing the year after year, right?
Yep.
Until 7. And each time, for how many subjects they can teach? Do they limit, like this year they only can teach 1 subject a year?
They can, yes, because all the training is on top of each other. So you know
Okay.
which track you're going to take.
So, okay.
So they'll be taught at the same time on top of each other. But a county, if a county has, they could have a set of kids for every track. So they could come back and have all of those clubs or camps offered in their county for all 4 subjects, if they had enough people trained. So it's just up to that county.
Okay. So if right now I only have 2 members, you said how many children we can teach at 1 class? Do they have a limit, like only 6 or 8 or?
No, if you've got 2 team leaders and an adult leader for time, it's 30 to 1 adult. So you can have the 30 kids, but if it's overnight, it's like 15 to 1. And you need 2 adults if you're going to do an overnight thing. But you can always get more volunteers than those that are trained. But who knows if you can do anything overnight right now. Anyway, so, but yeah, so really there's not much of a limit there.
So you say in the past they have overnight activities.
Yeah, so they might come back and do a 2-day 1-night camp from what they were,
Ah, okay,
and
okay.
that's how they've chosen to implement it. So they might go to a camping, or they might stay at an Airbnb or at a hotel and then come back to the 4-H office and do their training. And they go from, all day, evening, and then the next day. So yeah, it just depends
Okay.
on how they choose as teams to implement it.
So can they get, okay, so those participants, they need to pay for their own, right?
It depends on how you want to use the money, because it's money to implement, and there's maybe not enough to cover everyone's lodging, so they might have to pay a little bit, but then you might cover all the supplies, or you might have enough that there's no cost at all.
Wow. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Good to know. Thanks.
Yeah. So Barb asked if she could lead 2 different tri-teams, and we said yes, but it would be great if you could have kids seeing the training for both. So if you've got enough people to split up. And the leader could bounce back and forth, I guess, between those 2, as long as the kids are getting the training.
Another question on the Friday night training. I understand we want to try to get our whole team together somewhere for that. What kind of space would work? Do they need like tables and chairs? Do they need, I'm assuming they need a Wi-Fi access. Do you recommend them all being on their own devices or being on one device and sharing it?
We're flexible. Any one of the state ambassadors want to answer that one?
I can answer that. So yes, we do recommend that you're all together. Like your county office will work great. Chairs and tables would be great. Just if they need to sit down in between workshops or something like that. Another place that could work, if the coach or mentor would like to open up their home, that's another great place to meet for the teams. Like we said, there's going to be some supplies needed. Nothing too big or complicated or anything like that, just very simple. And so tables would be great to write on for some of the workshops. But otherwise, I think that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty flexible. A little bit of room. They might have some activities where they need to stand up. And depending on how big that team is, you might be playing some games that you have to stand up or do things. And then we do want them to write on post-it boards, like those big sticky pads, on some of the activities too. So a little bit of writing with some markers.
Also, sorry. I think it would be best if you had just one Zoom per team. If you guys are all together anyway, you guys don't need to be on your individual devices or anything like that. So just having one computer, if you can, would be probably the easiest instead of a phone. But having one camera per team would be the best thing that you guys could do.
Okay, thank you.
Got a question. What's the minimum number of youth per tri-team? 2. Max probably 8, maybe, but not really a max, but the average is 4. So whatever you have there. Sometimes if you don't have enough teens, it gets a little bit hard, but they just have to teach a lot. But if you're not teaching everything at once, then it's not like if you're meeting in club meetings, 2 would be fine to teach.
Okay, I think that's a great question to end on. I know that I definitely can walk away with more answers about the tri-teams, and how to get involved in my county, as well as how to recruit teams and see some good changes happen in our communities and to the youth we teach. So big thank you to Jolene for kind of guiding this. Thank you to the state ambassadors for your experiences and for some heads up for what's coming up this upcoming year. We're grateful for your efforts in teaching our youth, and to all those who have put in the effort to get grants so that we and the other counties can mooch off of you. But this will be really great. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to your county 4-H office. If anything, they can go find the answers to the questions that you have. Thank you everybody for joining tonight, and have a great night.
Okay, thank you. Sign out.